So second example. So you've got a table. The scenario is to try and work out which radio to produce, Windsor or Buckingham. You've got the sales revenue, you've got the variable costs, and they've worked out the contribution per unit for you already. The bullet points have said that each radio takes 2 direct labour hours. The number of direct labour hours each week is 260. The weekly fixed costs, the fixed overheads, are £2,000. And demand for Windsor is 100 per week and Buckingham's 80 per week. And we need to give the production manager our recommendation and support our views with a forecast income statement. So same steps as before. So step 1, identify the limiting factor. So tell us in the question that we only got 260 hours in that week. So that's step 1 done. Step 2, calculate the contribution per unit. That's done for us in the question. They were nice. So it's £20 contribution per unit for Windsor, 30 for Buckingham. So it looks like Buckingham is a bit better. It looks like we get more contribution per unit from Buckingham, but let's see if that really is better. So what we're going to do next is we're going to work out which scarce resource is needed per unit for each product. So it says in the question, again, that's already given to us, it takes 2 direct labour hours to make. So each one, Windsor and Buckingham, is 2 hours each. So then we calculate the contribution per hour per scarce resource. So £20 contribution for Windsor. It takes 2 hours to make each one, so therefore £10 per hour. Buckingham, £30 per unit, again 2 hours to make, so £15 per hour. So we rank Buckingham number 1 and Windsor number 2 because 15 is bigger than 10. Step 5, calculate how many hours are needed for each product. So it tells us in the question that our demand is we expect 100 Windsor and 80 Buckingham. Now, the hours we needed, well, it takes 2 hours per unit. So for Windsor, that's 200 hours needed. Buckingham, it's 160 hours needed. So if we were to make all the radios, we would need 360 hours. However, we've only got 260. So that's why we need to look at this rank order to decide which ones to prioritize. So then step 6, we do our optimum production plan. So we've got 260 hours available. We start with Buckingham. So I make all the Buckingham radios. So I take away 160 hours. So that leaves me 100 hours remaining. So I can make 100 hours worth of Windsor. However, Windsor needed 200 hours, so I can't make all of them. Each radio took 2 hours, so I do 100 divided by 2, so I can make 50 Windsor radios. So I just filled up the table into the bottom there. So Buckingham, I can make all 80, which took 160 hours. Windsor, I can only make 50 radios, which took 100 hours. Now, this is where in an exam question, you could talk about non-financial situations. So what's the impact if I don't make all the Windsor radios? If a customer comes expecting a Windsor radio and I haven't got one? What's going to happen to the loyalty of that customer, for example? So it says we need to back up our view with a forecast income statement. So we've decided how many of each we're going to need. So let's look at how we can make an income statement. So our revenue goes to the top. So for Buckingham and Windsor, well, Buckingham, we can make 80 and the selling price was £100. So 80 times 100 is 8,000. Windsor, we can make 50 and the selling price was 50. So 50 times 50, 2,500. So total was 10,500 for sales that week. We're then going to take away our variable costs. So again, Buckingham and Windsor had different variable costs. So Buckingham was £70 per unit. We're going to make 80 for Buckingham, so 80 times 70. And Windsor is £30 variable cost. We're going to make 50, so 50 times 30. That gives me 7,100 altogether. So take that away from our sales, and that gives us our total contribution, so 3,400. Take away our fixed cost, so take away the £2,000 in the question, and that leaves us with £1,400 profit. Now, we can sell out your income statement slightly differently. However, if you're used to this way, stick with this way. The slight other way is a bit quicker because it's already using the contribution per unit that we're given in the question at 20 and 30, if you can see in the table. So if we set out just looking at contribution, well, Windsor contribution was 30 and we're making 80 of them. So 80 times 30. Sorry, that was Buckingham, and Windsor's contribution per unit was 20 and we're making 50 of them. So 50 times 20. Add them up, 3,400. That gives it the same total contribution as before. Then it's the same as before. Take with the 2,000 to get £1,400 profit for that week. Okay, you might need to go back and watch these examples again. Then when you're happy, have a go at the practice questions.